Hello there and welcome back to the Zero Credentials F1 podcast. I'm here, as usual, with Nelly, and we're here to discuss all the ongoings and the happenings of testing in Bahrain. And the next time we see Formula One will be at the first race of the season, or at least the practice session in Australia. I'm starting to get pretty excited. I don't know about you, mate, but there's loads to discuss. So let's roll the credits.
Let's get at it.
And we'll get into it. So before we do discuss that, it's come to my attention that there are some lurkers watching our videos. Did you know this, mate? People that are watching and are not subscribed. And I was just wondering, what would you do if you discovered you were a lurker or you knew you're a lurker?
I'd feel a bit creepy, actually. I'd feel a bit dirty. I mean, there's quite a large disparity between the number of watches that we're getting versus the number of people who are solid individuals, stand-up human beings, and press the subscribe button. So,
and not creepy.
Yeah, well, this is it. So there's some voyeurs out there who like what they see, but they don't want to commit. And if you want to stalk us, that's absolutely fine, but at least give us a like or a subscribe. Gee whiz.
Absolutely.
The 1,000 club, the
everybody.
first 1,000 people we get subscribing to this podcast that are the finest human beings in all of humanity.
Are you afraid to like F1?
Well, I can't imagine why anyone would be fearful of it. Did they not like Jeopardy? Did they not like the peak of sporting finesse?
And danger?
A slight wisp of danger. Ooh. Get subscribed, you'll get it all here.
And if you feel unsafe, you can start from the pit lane.
You can watch
as
with
Max
your friend.
Verstappen said this week.
That was a solid mark.
Yeah,
that was a solid mark to the rest of the field. Oh, if you don't like it. Anyway.
Yeah, so we've had testing. We're finished. And I thought we'd start this off just by asking who's happy and who's not. So let's start with the who is happy first. Who would you put at number one? Who's had the best testing, do you think?
Ooh.
To put you on the spot.
No, well, I'm trying to filter out any of the sandbagging, but to be fair, the big teams are all there and thereabouts. In terms of progress from previous seasons, I think Ferrari's got to be in a very comfortable place. Lewis feels to be enjoying how the car handles and he's having fun in there, he says, notwithstanding the limitations to the racing potential that the new formula allows for. But they've got to be happier about the step change that they've made. But equally, I think Mercedes has done a lot, and I think it's been quite circumspect about how much it's got in the bag. And I think they've got a lot to show.
They were very strong, weren't they? Looking in testing. And then towards the end, they're either sandbagging a bit or they've had a couple of sort of little issues, little gremlins. Because I think they had to change an engine, didn't they, on Antonelli's car?
Yeah, Antonelli had to.
And then in the end, I mean, yesterday, which was the last day of testing, Charles Leclerc banged in well over 100 laps, didn't he? And Ferrari ended up being the team that have done the most mileage and most laps in testing. So I think sorry, go on.
No, I just think reliability will become a massive part of it because the gremlins that we have seen pop up in testing are quite terminal, and they all seem to be from the power unit or the electrical systems. So they've got a lot to. I mean, they can have a fast car. This is the quandary that a lot of teams will have. You can have a fast car if you can get it going, and if you can keep it going.
I mean, the Ferrari power unit is looking fairly strong. Haas have got that, and they've pumped in a lot of laps as well.
Yeah, Ollie's looked really good in there as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I reckon they're sort of top in the midfield, to be honest.
I wouldn't disagree.
You're right. You're right to say that. I think the top four teams from last season, in form of Mercedes, Red Bull, McLaren, and Ferrari, are definitely the top four again. Yeah. I think that's probably the only thing we can be absolutely certain of.
Yeah,
because McLaren, I reckon, are pretty happy as well. They've made some big gains, I think, in the last couple of days of testing, where they've got the start sorted out by the looks of it. Their race pace was pretty decent. Max's race pace has been good as well, though.
Yeah.
Just before we started recording, I looked at the predictions we'd made after the shakedown. I'll bring them up, and they're actually not looking stupid at all. You've gone for Max as the drivers' champion and Mercedes as the constructors. That's still, with Max's pace that we've seen already, Red Bull have done a good job with that engine and stuff. It's impressive.
Yeah, I think they can be quite content with where they are. Yeah, definitely.
And then I've gone for George Russell, drivers' champion, and Ferrari constructors. I think I'm feeling even more confident about that shout.
Yeah, that could well happen.
You've got two proven drivers in that Ferrari. I think Antonelli has still got something to do to prove himself. It was his rookie season last year. It didn't go entirely according to plan. There were some good moments, but he's been fairly strong in testing.
Yeah, he has a propensity to have a stinker from time to time, though, doesn't he?
Yeah.
End up in a weird place in the field.
And then
hopefully that's all behind him.
Yeah, I think it will be, especially if he's got a good machine under him. And then George Russell and Mercedes for White. So that I think any one of those is possible. Still, I don't think that nothing's changed.
There's a good mix. I'm glad we've got a mix as well, because it shows that it's not a one horse race or a boring season. I think the top four will have exchanges more than we've had in previous seasons. I'm not sure that we're going to get a runaway team at this stage.
No,
I can see a number of different podiums, a number of different teams winning, all in the first 6 races.
Yeah, I think that's right. There's one of the points White's made when we were texting yesterday is that he thinks there's going to be some rather large gaps in the field, and the timings would suggest that. So I think you're going to have your sort of front 4. Then I think there's going to be quite a big gap to the sort of front of the midfield, potentially. And then there's some stragglers at the back, because people that are not happy, the unhappy ones, are most definitely Aston Martin.
Wow, yeah.
And I think we'll come back onto them in a sec. And I think probably not necessarily unhappy, but they're definitely going to be at the back on performance, is Cadillac.
Yeah.
So they did some laps on the race run yesterday, and there was 7 seconds off the pace at some points, which sort of shows there are significant gaps. Even to the midfield, there was like a second a lap difference between that and Charles Leclerc's.
Yeah,
fastest
I mean,
time.
you can sort of forgive them in the first season coming in, even Audi, because I mean, the Cadillac won't be as well resourced or even used to F1 in the same way that Audi is in terms of Western Europe style motorsport, rather than the Americas. But I mean,
tell me about Aston Martin.
Aston Martin, an absolute dog. It feels as if they're. I mean, firstly, a bit of a nightmare throughout all of the sessions, but they were down for a long time in the final session in Bahrain, ostensibly with engine issues, and it feels like the design philosophy and the chassis is there or thereabouts, but they just can't extract what they need from this Honda engine, and the reliability is absolutely appalling. And which is surprising, because Honda is renowned for some pretty decent power units.
I think, to be sort of fair, Honda came into it a bit late compared to the others, so they're playing catch up to start with. But it was interesting that I heard them say that it was Honda that announced yesterday that Aston Martin wouldn't be doing much running, because it's their fault, basically.
Yeah.
But also they've got so there's battery issues as well for them, and they've got a new gear. They're building their own gearbox as well. So there's a lot of things that are quite new in that team. Lots of new,
a lot of vulnerabilities that way. Yeah. I mean, I heard as well that Lawrence Stroll got everyone together and just went through them basically, and it's a difficult one because
angrily or
like did he? Properly tearing through them, and that frustrates me, because there are so many variables about a design philosophy, and it's not as if anyone in Aston Martin, hand on heart, will be not working to their fullest, or not trying their best, or not trying to innovate as novelly as they possibly can. So I think that's really unfair, because it's you throw your chips behind a design philosophy. It'll have been 2 years, 3 years in the making at this stage. Well, maybe a bit tighter given that Adrian Newey's came in last year, but it'll be nothing to do with any lack of effort on behalf of the engineers or the mechanical side of the team. So if they've gone down a wrong direction, they've gone down a wrong direction. They need to correct that. But the inference that people aren't working hard enough is completely wrong.
Yeah, I mean, from my limited knowledge, it just seems like the engine's not quite ready. What they were saying on Sky F1, is that it's not going to be a quick road back. And this could go on for a while, which for Fernando Alonso, he hasn't got time on his side, has he, in terms of maintaining like a top level of performance and sport at his age. I think he's 45.
Well, this is it. He's committed to the project, and he's had a frustrating couple of years, and now should be the payoff when they've assembled the team and Newey and all of the back of house people and relationship with Honda and all of the things that you would expect could create an excellent cocktail and a recipe for success. But he hasn't got time to play with. He hasn't got another 2 or 3 seasons of let's build something. He needs results now if he wants to put a mark on the end of his career.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I'm actually really excited about is there's now 11 teams on the grid, isn't there? There's 22 cars. I reckon Audi are going to be starting maybe somewhere towards the back a little bit to start with. I reckon they'll make pretty quick gains though, because I don't know. I just think they will.
Yeah, I think Audi are on track. They're where they would expect to be at this stage.
I would have thought
they could have had an accidental boost where they could have been a little bit further up the field, but I think in terms of their strategic planning, this would have done nicely at this stage.
Yeah, especially because they've got their own engine and stuff as well, haven't they?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the midfield is quite interesting as well. Williams obviously didn't do the shakedown and so have been playing catch up a little bit, but that seems to have worked for them. They put in some decent mileage. Team RB looked good. Haas looked good. Alpine look way improved with that Mercedes power unit instead of that.
They were in a horrible place, weren't they, last year?
Dog of an engine they had last time. I'm
excited with that.
Yeah, me too. All of this happening, I just kind of think, well, yeah, I can't wait to see it play out in Melbourne, in Australia, where there's already talk of rain as well.
Well,
and if you remember last year's race, which was very wet and chaotic, I'm not sure I want that though. I think there's enough interest in seeing with these new regs where everybody is. I'm not sure if rain
we don't need it spiced up at this stage. You just want to see what the baseline is.
Yeah, exactly.
For the formula,
yeah, that's it. Yeah,
and and it can get pretty biblical because Australia, of course, will be entering into sort of their summer to autumn transition now as we're entering the winter to spring. So yeah, the weather might not be on side, but yeah, all I want is dry. It doesn't need to be particularly sunny or anything like that. But yeah, if it rains in Australia, it can be pretty biblical when it comes, can't it?
Yeah, and when if they run a race in the rain, we're not going to really know exactly where each machine is, are we?
No.
And I think
might as well reset after that. Yeah.
And with these power units we've got now, which have 50% electrical power, they have a hell of a lot of torque. So I think you're going to have to be
spinny.
Yeah, very spinny. Yeah. And the drivers are going to have to be properly on it. So I'm getting excited for the
traction
race.
Control and that much electrical power. That's some toys to play with there. That can be really, really tricky.
So I'm starting to get a little buzz, mate. I'm starting to get buzzed a bit.
I'm getting warm. With all this. Shit be getting sweaty. Yeah, but 2 weeks. 2 weeks time. And it starts for real. And yeah, the jeopardy for me, I really don't know what's going to happen. We can't be sure that anyone's actually going to complete the race. They'll have taken a shed load of data away with them from Bahrain. So where they finished in Bahrain on the laps and the screen time, of course they've got a lot of data they can take away and make refinements and adaptations to it in the next fortnight. So don't expect the cars that you see today to be the exact form and pace in 2 weeks' time. But in terms of happy teams and not so happy teams, we cover. What about individuals? Because I would just like to note that with the regs changing, it may have been a long test. Regs changing, more time in the car than usual for a pre-season, and it appears that Hadjar's holding his own. It might not be a one car seat now.
He did get slightly unlucky with some of the sort of reliability measures or reliability that Red Bull suffered. It all seemed to be on his days rather than on Max's days.
They probably planned that.
Yeah, that's by design. I think Charles Leclerc has got to be buzzing. He's got to be thinking, he did a lot of laps. He was fast. He's got to be thinking, this is looking good. Then it comes down to were Mercedes sandbagging? Because if they were, I think George Russell is still feeling very happy about things. If they were not, I think you've probably got George Russell starting to feel, I thought we were there. But Ferrari have sort of seemed to be a touch ahead. I reckon Lando is probably feeling all right. I think Lewis is feeling all right. I think probably Max has mixed feelings. Piastri, I don't know, because it seems that these cars are a bit more rear happy than the previous cars. The back end wants to step out. There's a lot of talk. And I think the drivers that can sort of caress that and are happy with that, which I think Lewis Hamilton is one of those people.
Yeah, he feels in a good place, doesn't he?
They're going to be slightly happier than the others. Yeah. But I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, well, they say it's lively, but they say it's relatively easy to catch as well, because they'll have like an extra. Obviously, on top of the engine braking, they'll have a bit of recovery braking as well, or to try and keep their rears in check. So yeah, but I mean, this is it. We just don't know at this stage. I mean, there's so many reliability issues, so many different aspects of the teams. I mean, there's the big question mark over starting. Can everybody get off the line, and can they get out of the way if they're not having a good start and hit the anti-stall?
Did you see Lewis Hamilton's start when they did the pretend start?
Wacky race. It was Mario Kart shit. That was incredible. It was.
I think he was like ninth. Did he start seventh or ninth on the grid? There's obviously gaps in it, and we can't read too much into it. But he like
P11. I heard P11.
popped it into first by turn one. It was hilarious,
and he had to lift because he was trying to get around people as well. So he had to lift a little bit.
And certainly looking at Charles's start yesterday, that hasn't gone away. What I think has happened, though, is McLaren have got a grip of their start now as well. They look fast.
They've learned something.
Lando had a lightning start yesterday. He went right to the back. He got a sort of Mario Kart power start.
Yeah.
He just decided not to go on the grass because it's testing. But he had immense speed.
Mercedes, they only really need to know the first 3 seconds, don't they, for that launch phase, and then after that you're just flying up the gear. So I mean, I imagine that much after the first 3 seconds.
Yeah, and I imagine that's something Mercedes are most definitely looking at, because that kind of start could undo good qualifying by turn.
Well, as we said last season was characterised by, it was the turn one race, wasn't it? Wherever you were at the end of turn one was largely where the race finished, unless there was some safety car action, and we saw Lando and Max steamrolling in to turn one, because that's where the most gain or loss could be made in the race. And I'm sure there'll be something pretty similar with the launches this year. I mean, there's big question marks again with the launch on. It appears that Ferrari have that smaller turbo, which is easier to get wound up. And the other teams...
is that what it was? I hadn't realised that's
it's got a slightly smaller turbo, so it's easier for them to get it up to the boost phase. And so they're not getting as much power lag as the rest of them. And I think Mercedes initially had gone for a big chunky lad of a turbo.
Right.
That's taking them a bit more time. But again, they'll just tweak the gearing and everything else in terms of how many revs get it going. But yeah, but as a general point as well, Addy, they sound like monsters, these cars, don't they? They're really like gravelly and growly, and it sound like a bag of spanners a lot of the time.
It does. And there's I'm sure it's like an electrical whir that you can hear in the background, well, especially once you get up to high speed. There's like this whirring sound, which sounds.
I'm sure we'll get used to it, but it's really unpleasant at the moment. It's not a V10 or a V12,
no.
Is it? Of course, and we haven't been treated to that for many years.
It's not like you sort of stood around some sort of muscle car and someone revs the engine and everybody gets a little fizz at the same time. It's definitely not doing that, is it?
That's it. I don't think it'll. I mean, I'm sure we'll get used to it, but it just sometimes when you hear them just changing down and some really gravelly noise, and I'm almost wincing because it sounds like mechanically that can't be a good thing for the bits that are turning and pumping and going around. Edges are coming off and bits of metal are going to be flying around. Just don't like it, but this is where we are. We'll just have to live with it.
Yeah, I mean, although I'm like I said, we're getting excited, but it isn't all rosy. I don't know if you saw the press conference the other day, but Lando Norris had said that he's liking the cars and he's excited about it. He said that the day before, just to he's a world champion now. So he sort of said, I'm just playing because I wanted to see what the reaction would be after Max had said what Max said. And but then when they actually dug into what Lando had said, he was like, oh no, the cars are shit. Like all the drivers think they're shit and they're hard to drive and they're not that fun.
I mean, they have to be a bit diplomatic, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, he kind of was, but he basically said, no, they're shit. Like, it's nowhere near as good as last year.
It's not as fun. And that's a main thing as well. It should be the peak of motorsport, but it should also be an incredible buzz. I mean, if they feel that they have to like back off or freewheel into some critical parts of the circuit, they should be going full out in every instance. And that can't be as much fun if you're not at the limit of where the car is.
Yeah, but because we've introduced, for the sake of being green, some arbitrary energy limitations, because we've basically got rid of a high density energy source in the form of petrol, like high quality petrol. We've swapped that for a biofuel and knocked it down to half power, with the other being from the electricity, to basically a less dense energy source that's a bit shitter and and it's just like, well, so you're creating these like artificial sort of energy limitations. So the role of the driver is going to be, they're going to have to become like master manipulators of a battery and an energy harvesting sort of system, rather than balls to the wall international superstar racing driver.
Exactly.
And I think that's, so when Lando says it's not fun, I think essentially that's the reason for it, is that they're just dealing with all these limitations it's their skill and ability just being held back by these power constraints. Well, listen, and that's, for me, that's not Formula One. It's not the spirit of Formula One.
It's maybe a bit of a stretch of an analogue here, but it feels like, giving Usain Bolt, putting him up on the start line, giving him some flip flops. He's not going to perform to his absolute best ability, is he? He's just, he'll still be quick. There's no doubt, but it's not going to be the full mastery that you would otherwise see. It is a frustration, but yeah, let's give it a bit more time and see. I'm sure it'll settle in. It'll be frustrating in the first 6 months.
You could argue that the cost cap was an energy limitation as well. Yeah. But it's kind of, I don't think that's been necessarily a bad thing, because you can't just have unlimited money being spent on it, because that creates negative incentives in terms of like power, like people power, and sort of companies having too much effect on everything. So I think that's kind of good for the sport. But I mean, I just don't think it's in the kind of spirit of Formula One where you're asking engineers to push the boundaries of efficiency rather than pushing the boundaries of speed and power, which is what, like, for me, that's why I love Formula One, because it's that technical side of it plus the drivers. Yeah. Whereas now you're asking the driver to do almost something quite different at times, and the engineers are trying to be as efficient as they can rather than as powerful with what they've got. So that's my issue.
There's another way to meet the green credentials as well, though. I mean, as you say, we've got sustainable fuels now that are made from crops and ethanol and everything like that create that high density fuel. So that could be, we could have 100% sustainable fuel, but still make it a fuel in the traditional sense. I'm sure that there's technologies now where they can make synthetics like that anyway. So yeah, I'm not.
Oh, just don't do that. Just accept that it's a sport that people love. So let's just keep doing it. Yeah. And maybe just do a few more races in Europe, because that'd suit us.
Yes. But stop flying so far and just stay in Europe for the entire season.
Why don't you stop flying private and get on Earth? if you're bothered about it, like if you're going to tell us, if you're going to virtue signal about it, stop going on any private jets everywhere. Yeah, this is it.
And I'm surprised, given the Middle East input in F1 now, that they aren't pushing the oil agenda. Can we have some more dinosaur juice in these cars, please? Because it goes really, really well.
I actually think they probably are, to be honest. There is some talk of from the FIA, think about B10s. Yeah. But I don't
what
think
about a breakaway series dirty F1? Just no cost limits. No expenditure limits. The dirtiest of all fuels you can use.
I mean, there's always been an argument of that in athletics as well, and just let people take steroids. Let them get roided up to the tits.
It's going to be really entertaining.
Yeah, because that's actually the peak of what people can do.
Yeah,
when they have steroids. If they don't have
synthetic
steroids,
enhancements all the way. Yeah, let's see. Let's see what we could actually achieve if we took the limitations away.
Let's push the boundaries of what we can do.
I'm starting to advocate for this. Let's start a campaign.
There are also, so on top of this, some really stupid terms that have been introduced into the vernacular this year. The one that kind of springs to mind for me, I'll just look at my notes here, is super clipping. Do you know what super clipping is?
It puts me in mind of when Johnny Depp and Amber Heard had their court case, and Johnny Depp was accused of having a mega pint of wine. Well, a pint's a pint, isn't it? I mean, there's no
mega pint.
Yeah. So it's clipping. But what is it? A bit harsher, a bit more of it, a bit earlier that it starts to inform. But yeah, do you know what? When I hear the term mega clipping, I don't care what it is, because it's something that clearly is dull enough for them to increase a new or put some new terminology towards it. Go on, enlighten me.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. It doesn't matter what it is, because it shouldn't be part of it. But I think it's basically where they get to a certain speed and you get super clipping, which basically takes some of the power from the petrol, the biofuel, and puts it back into the battery, which isn't, like I was saying the other week, that's not green, is it? That's just burning. That's like when they put diesel generators behind the Tesla chargers at a service station. It's the same thing.
And tap themselves on the back for being green about it.
We're green because we're charging. We've got nice electric cars, but all done with diesel.
Belching out diesel fumes out the back. In a generator.
It's essentially that. There are obviously other ways to charge a battery up, but I've watched 24 hours of testing over the last
Good work.
Is it that? No. Yeah, that's right. Good work,
but I've relied on highlights.
I did have to go to the toilet in between now and again.
You're only human.
Yeah. But there was a lot of battery chat, and there was some minor gaslighting from the commentators to try and tell me, no, this is going to be good. This is going to be fun. Battery chat's all right. But
they've been given the comms narrative, haven't they, from the FIA? Be positive about it. Try and pump it up. Reassure people that it's not as shit as it looks, and let's see where we go from there. Yeah, I noticed that bit of 1984 propaganda going on there.
I think what I'm sensing is that there's going to be driver and fan alignment very quickly.
Yeah.
And we're going to get messages from probably the mainstream media and from F1 that this is great. And
that's why we need to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, I'm still optimistic. I'm an eternal optimist. So I hope the racing is good. But what the thing is frustrating is these regs, but with a V10 engine, would be so exciting,
so much
wouldn't
better.
it?
Yeah.
There's no talk of batteries. It's just balls to the wall with all the aero stuff that they can do now. The level of driver that we've got these days as well. You've already got 4 world champions on the grid now.
Yeah.
And you've got at least 3 or 4 others that are very capable, I think, of being a world champion if they have the right car. The level of driving is insane. So I think if you had obviously the technology around the aero and stuff is super exciting with all the wind tunnels and simulators they've got these days. If you had a V10 engine in there that just sounded...
Just a real engine.
It just makes you feel sexy when you hear it.
Yeah.
I think that's just... Oh.
But this is why it's important for us to talk about this and counter this propaganda, because I still like to believe that if the true fans and those who have 0 credentials, just like us, but still understand what the sport is.
That's why they should subscribe.
Principles behind. That's the main reason why they subscribe, because we have a voice. And I think, will the FIA? I don't think the FIA have necessarily considered the fans and their input, but surely they'll react to them because it's a commercial business now. And if people get turned off by these, if they turn out to be nonsense regs changes, are they brave enough to turn back or to adapt if they're not getting the views, if they're not getting the sponsorships and everything else? You'd think as a money-driven game, they'd have to respond to it if it started to go pear-shaped.
Absolutely. One of the things that was notable with watching testing was the kind of Anthony Davidson, who's a Sky Sports pundit. He's very patronising. So he talks like he is the only person that knows this thing. Yeah. And when you're presenting testing, pretty much the only people that are watching are hardcore F1 fans who you don't really need to explain stuff to like they're a child, because we've been here for years. We can watch it for a few hours and pick up most of the technical sort of nonsense that's going on and understand it pretty quickly because we're learned scholars who like F1. But
correct.
I think as the season starts, if all this technical jargon continues, that is going to put off people that are sort of just want to watch a good race, and they log on or they start watching just as the race starts. They're not watching the build up. They're just there for the race and they fuck off again. Those people are going to be put off by the sort of complexity of the technical terms and what does this mean, what does that mean, because it isn't adding to the entertainment, I don't think.
No.
So you're right. If that turns people off, then that could be a problem for F1. But I think ultimately it's going to come down to whether the racing is good.
Yeah.
Because I think we will probably forgive. We'll change our tune if the racing's good, won't we?
That's all I want, good racing. I don't care how they achieve it. If this turns out to be the best formula and provides the most excitement and harmony between driver skill and the ability of the car, I'll be delighted. I will be beyond myself. And I hope it gets there. I just don't feel it will. I mean, there's a bit of an example for what you've just said there when you're precisely right, is half of the pop-ups and things on screen that pop up in Formula E are explanations as to what the hell is going on with certain boosts or long laps and
Yeah.
penalties and pits and stuff that they have to do. So that's, I don't want to have to study something that hard to do it. I do it for pleasure, as you say. We watch people question mark why we would watch practicing and qualifying on a race weekend. That's pretty hardcore, but to actually watch the testing, that's an extra level. But it's what I was doing. We are different consumers.
I was doing, yeah. We definitely are. I was doing other things. I was working at the same time. I just had it on.
Of course, yeah.
It's like watching Test match cricket. You just have it on at the side. But one moment that was very interesting, that kind of highlighted how this season's racing could be, was at one point George Russell and Piastri started racing, and it was good. It was probably good data for both teams. But George came onto the straight, at the start-finish straight, quite far back, and he obviously hit the boost button, got right up, started an overtake. Piastri managed to just stay ahead around the outside.
He held him off, didn't he? I know,
because turn two is he's then on the inside for turn two. But then after that, George was nowhere. He lost loads of ground on the rest of that lap because he burnt through the battery to actually close the gap. So if it had been a real race, right at the point you're starting to get excited because George has caught up and he's making a move, his battery dies and the excitement's gone. So like that, and
it'll be level it out. It's about when they choose to deploy, I suppose. But
this is what I'm saying. That for me, that's not the spirit of like the best. That's how people do computer games. That's not how Formula One racing drivers race. Like it's
that's it. It's I will use my secret squirrel at this part of the lap, and you use yours at the other part of the lap, and then we'll cancel each other out. But I don't see how it brings better rate, because I saw that exact example that you said, and it was astonishing. It allowed him to catch up, but then Oscar had different power to deploy at a different point in the race, and then just scuttled off down the track. So let's see. I just don't know. There's only one more. Go on.
The boost button is the first stage towards having real life Mario Kart.
Yeah,
isn't it? Like literally, like it's
absolutely.
You get a boost. What's the boost on Mario Kart? It's the mushroom, isn't it? You've literally got a mushroom. You're gonna hit the mushroom button, and it's gonna give you a burst of speed for like.
It'd be more entertaining if they give them real mushrooms for a few laps. For a few laps, you have to drive under the influence of mushrooms. Can you imagine driving that fast? And but there's stuff coming. It's almost like a emergence into Formula E as well, because I think they have boosts now where the car's 4-wheel drive and has additional electrical power output for a certain number of laps. So it goes from a 2-wheel drive to a 4-wheel drive car. So God knows if all of that's coming, but I sincerely hope not. But in terms of other innovations, I think the only other noteworthy one that caused a little bit of excitement on the pit wall this week was the upside down wing.
Oh yeah,
on the Ferrari.
Yeah,
what did you make of that?
I mean, it kind of looked cool, and it if you think that wings give you lift one way and they give you downforce the other way, you'd think if it's spun around, a simple brain like mine would say if you spin it round, then it lifts the back end a little bit, which maybe reduces or increases
traction.
Top speed.
But this is it. This is a bit I can't, because my thought on like DRS and everything else is it kills or stalls the downforce on the wing.
Yeah.
But conversely, if you turn it upside down, it's creating lifts. But presumably you don't want the drag, but you want the traction, don't you? And lift. If it starts to lift the back wheels up ever so slightly, then it can't be delivering that power.
Yeah.
As efficient. I honestly don't know. But
I think it was the only thing is once you spin it upside down, it's backwards as well, isn't it? Because it's not. So maybe the wing's the wrong way around. So I don't know. But I don't think
it'll go far.
I saw an interview with Jimmy V, Williams' boss or Williams' team lead, and he was saying that I mean, firstly, it only lasted for 5 laps on Lewis's car, and then took it off again. But Jimmy V would said, well, with all of the teams, you see some things, and it's either there's one of two options. Either we've already considered it and dismissed it.
Discounted it, yeah.
Yeah. Or secondly, you think, oh, that's interesting. Let's see how it plays out for them. If it works, we'll
have a look.
Yeah. And I think that's probably the case with the upside down wing. It looked cool though. Actually, in terms of the wings, I like the ones. I think Audi have done it, and maybe Haas, where it's just like the whole thing goes down.
Yeah.
Whereas some of them, it still just looks like DRS, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas some of them have just gone
like
flat.
Component. Yeah.
Yeah, which I think looks cool. It does look more streamlined.
Yeah. Like all
that's what I'm saying.
The
aero stuff is exciting.
Yeah.
That's like pushing the limits of power and performance. The aero stuff is just as exciting as it's ever been.
Just give it a real engine to deliver that power.
Yeah, I mean,
the
other one of the other stupid terms is the straight mode or straight SM markers that you see, which like are they when they deploy the aero sort of slippy aero bits? I don't even know. Or is that when they can use boost at that point? Or?
I'm sure we'll be patronised to death with little piece to camera vignettes, won't we? In the run up to Australia, there'll be loads of them. This is what this means. This is what that means. Little 20-minute segments of how they're going to do. But as long as Ted does them, I like it when Ted does them. I think he explains them well, and again, without being patronising, because that's been one of the hardest things of watching.
No, Ted. I mean, Ted always talks to the fans, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Like the proper fans. Like one of my favourite moments of a race weekend is on race day when the pit lane opens and they go down to Ted. Yeah. And the enthusiasm in his voice just yes.
He's a real fan, isn't he? First and foremost, he's a real fan, and he's
not a racing driver, which I quite like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He feels he's a man of the people, I think, isn't he?
Yeah. And it feels like everybody in the pits behind the scenes likes him, and genuinely when they bump into him or he gives them a wave and stuff, they seem genuinely pleased to see him as well.
He's one of those people where you probably talk to him and it's so awkward because he says such weird stuff, but you just kind of love him for it.
So if you're not going to subscribe for us, subscribe for Ted. Because we big him up. If you like Ted, give us a subscribe. Give us a like. Tell
Ted about the Zero Credentials F1 podcast.
Yeah. Shout out. Give us a shout out, Ted. If you, I'm sure Ted's one of our sub 1,000 best human beings over the world.
That would be amazing. I would like people to petition Ted to be in the 1,000 subscriber club. And if Ted's in there, why wouldn't people out there want to be in our club?
You're too good to be in a club with Ted. Why would you? Wow. And it's a bit creepy. Don't forget that it's a little bit creepy if you haven't subscribed.
Yeah, it is. Don't be a lurker.
Lurk. There's too many nasty people in the world these days.
I think we'll be back with probably the preview show now of...
Yeah, the run-up.
Or we might do... maybe we'll do a Drive to Survive review or something.
Yeah.
Maybe that. Because I do like to watch that at the start of the season.
So maybe we'll do that. Homework this week. Catch up on your Drive to Survive when it comes out.
And then we'll do a pre-race show where we're going to launch. We are launching, or we're rebranding, aren't we, mate? Something. We've got a professional to do our branding rather than me just smashing something out. But
don't know if you've heard, but we've got some pretty sweet things on the way.
And so you should subscribe, and we will see you again very, very soon. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to the podcast as well. If you get it that way. So, see you very, very soon.
Love you. Bye.